I'm sure it'll be very helpful for founders and basically anyone who is struggling to attract new customers. So I've prepared some questions that viewers may have watching this. So first question is that based on my own experience in conversations with many founders and sales reps around the world, I believe that most people have many questions. Like most customers have many questions about the product itself, the pricing, customer support, and many other aspects even before they see a demo. And I think that's because everyone is coming from different contexts, different needs and circumstance. And at Demo Boost, what are the most common questions that you guys receive, and how do you address them? Maybe during the demo or before the demo?
That's a good question, right? And I think that's going to also be very relevant for all of you here. So yeah, I mean, you saw a little bit of a glimpse of our product, right? I mean, we're a SaaS solution like a lot of yours. And they see it and like, oh, cool, that's easy. Like we know how it works. Like that's easy to use. And we're like, yes, that's correct. Like we built it to make it easy to use, right? To make it a friendly UI, etc. But we always tell them like, but this doesn't mean that creating a demo is easy, right? And we give this, and people are then asking like, oh, really? But how do we actually start building the demos? And we give them the analogy like, I can get a piece of paper and a pen today, and I can give it into the hands of an artist, and they're going to draw a beautiful masterpiece, right? Or you can give this pen and a piece of paper to myself, and I'm just going to ruin it, right? And I can't draw. And this is a conversation a lot of times we want to have with our customers, and they want to have with us, saying, okay, well, listen, we know how this works, but then how are we going to make our demos more engaging? Because I can tell you 9 times out of 10 people go into these demos and they even if they're like specialists, they end up creating training demos, showing the features. But it's not the case. Like how do you want to focus on how do we tell a story that's going to engage people, etc. Right? So it's the same thing with you, I imagine. Like if you're building a marketing automation solution, right? Because like, hey, okay, cool, I can have an email automation sequence. But then what is a good email automation sequence, right? You can probably build anything in your solution. But what is a good amount of steps and a good templates, all that stuff? This is the key thing you should be focusing on. And the customers a lot of times this is the 80% of the conversations we want to be having. Say, hey, the features work. It's good, right? You have questions about security, pricing, all that stuff. Cool. I mean, I can literally send it to you via email. But how do we build good demos? How do we build a good demo program? How do we drive change management inside of our organization? Like that's a whole other topic. And that's what we should be focusing on. And I would also encourage everybody to try to talk about this with the customers, right? When you have that before a demo, throughout the demo, and afterwards, right? Because that's really what's going to drive purchasing decision, adoption, renewals, all that stuff, right? A lot of words, right. But hopefully it answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, based on my own experience, after the first 10 or 20 demos, I came to have maybe 10 to 15 frequently asked questions. But then, after that, each demo just brings up new question. So, that's why I wanted to ask that question. And the second question is that during a typical demo, I think there are usually 2 main parts, a mix of 2 different parts. First one is a tour of the product and its key features. And I think more importantly, addressing the customer's concerns or questions. And I think it is common for customers to ask, many questions. And I think that's a pretty good sign. But this might take your pre-planned agenda off the track a lot. So how can an interactive demo tool like Demoboost solve this problem?
Good question, right? So first, like you were saying, you should definitely at some stage start tracking those questions. There should be a little bit of a database, pretty much even a Google Doc with the frequently asked questions, right? So you should kind of know what people are asking for, and then possibly map your demo to these questions to cover the most important topics for them. And if these if somebody goes off track and they're asking a particular question that you have not prepared for your demo or you don't know how to show, I always say hey, listen, and this is a bit of a skill to do on calls, but on the call, you are the expert for the solution, right? I mean, you know what you're saying. So I always say, hey, listen, if somebody asks you a ton of questions, we have all had these customer conversations where somebody's like, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? And they're not really relevant questions at this stage or maybe for this product. I always tell people like, hey, listen, don't be afraid to push back. Like, show them the thing that you wanted to show them. If you have something, quick to show them to answer this additional question, awesome, right? In your demo, in your live environment, whatever works. But also just you control the call, right? So don't be afraid to say, actually, Mr. Customer, very good question. Let me take a note of this. Take an actual note. I'll actually follow up with you via email. Or even better, we can schedule an additional call. Maybe you can invite your colleagues from the team that can be also interested in this, and then we can cover all of this, right? And I can also prepare some more detailed information from you then. And come back to the main talking track, because again, we've all been in these situations where the customer is like, oh, what about your security? What about the implementation? What about your integration X, Y, Z, etc.? And then you're like, okay, well, our call is done, and I haven't gotten to my, are you the decision maker? What are the next steps? Hey, how are you thinking? What's your feedback? Because they got their answers, which they thought are relevant for them, but in no way this kind of progressed this relationship. So don't be afraid to call it I would say, use the demo also a little bit as a way to say, hey, listen, this environment, I can actually prepare it a little bit better for you to answer this question. So we can actually warrant an additional call. And don't be afraid to push back, say, hey, listen, but today we literally just have 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something. And from our experience, like, this is a good question. That's why I'm going to take a note on this. But at this stage, it would be really good to discuss X, Y, and Z, right? Because again, you're having 20 of these conversations a week. This guy is having a first conversation like this, right, with your solution. Especially if you're a startup, you're an innovative solution. They don't know what to ask for, and you can kind of position yourself as an expert there as well. Push and pull a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, taking control of the meeting, I think that's very important, and I think that's a very good point. So one last question, so related to the prior question, is that so would it be possible for me to include the frequently asked questions, the usual suspects, in the demo boost, send it out to the customer before the actual meeting, and then during the meeting, you talk about other concerns and other agenda. Would it be possible?
Absolutely, yes. So that definitely you can do that in our solution, or again, you can just literally do it, in an email. That also works. A very good tactical overall, right? Regardless of what solution you have. But thinking about this and saying, hey, listen, our call is happening tomorrow or happening in an hour. This is the most common questions we typically have. Sending it over, as for you to review, and then we can dive into more details on the call there to make it most productive for yourself and right. So. Short answer, yes. And to add to it, really good idea, really good tactic. And literally, you can do it with your Gmail. I mean, that's as easy as it is. Or you can use Demoboost as well. That helps.
All right. That's perfect. So thank you for your answer, Pawel, and also thank you so much for the great presentation today and for sharing your insights today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan, for the invite, and everybody, feel free to connect with me personally. I'm happy to talk to all of you and how we can help with demos. Take care.